was Aloysius. Okay, who, Aloysius, whatever. I'm Spike, okay? Look, all you need to know is that I'm number 1 and you're number 2. Got it? Whoa, whoa! There.
Why would you put that punch, a liquid, with barely any protection on top of a very unstable surface? And better question, how did it not fall off immediately? Or at all? Why is his tongue still covered in chocolate? That's impossible.
And that is why you are my number 1 assistant.
Watch how the line gets ruined for ruining the episode.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear you.
That is why you are my number 1 assistant.
Missed that. Huh?
This entire scene annoyed me to no end. And I'm not even entirely sure why.
Right. Check.
Wait. When was his room here? You know, it's funny how many times the library's layout changes in these episodes. When the book is in this position, there seems to be no Ash, but when he puts the book like this...
Hey, what's taking my number 1 assistant so long?
Is Twilight gonna keep calling Spike by my number 1 assistant for the whole episode? These non-existent wings. Kind of a redundant sin, but again, the punch is not falling down or at least spilling out. It's even worse now because they're on an elevated platform. Okay, so here, Dash takes a bite of the apple. Yet about 8 seconds later, she's almost done and asking Scooch to throw it away. I'm sorry, what? But then another 4 seconds pass, and the apple is more finished than it was before. The consistency here is so bad that it deserves 3 sins.
Aw, come on. I said come on.
Spike is just being a greedy prick, asking for compliments here. And it's annoying.
Spike, you are such a little star that I had to make this little bow tie for you.
So, you made this bow before you came here. And you knew Spike was going to be here. Something about her making this bow feels extremely off.
Twilight, your turn.
Oh my god. Scootaloo has Sweetabelle's voice here. And for some reason she says one. Or once, I cannot tell. He's only been out here for a few minutes. How is he already tired?
Now the punch has been spiked.
Ha ha ha. It wasn't funny.
Sweet dreams, number 1 assistant.
He has a name, Twy. How could we not see the balcony here? Or anything? It is literally pure nothing outside Twy's window. My last question is even more justified here because from where the door is, at least some of the balcony should be visible. Extra sin that I forgot to clear in the script, but Twilight should have heard that. If the wind is this strong, the candle should have been blown out. Doesn't Twy have magic? Why didn't she just use her magic on the scroll to stop it from flying away?
Oh, this is a job for Spike. If only he were awake.
What do you expect Spike to do in this case? Run all across Equestria until he finds a scroll that is likely in the sky? At night?
Woo.
Owl Ex Machina. The candle.
Hi there. I'm Spike. I'm sure Twilight has told you all about me. Spike, you know, assistant number 1. I'm Spike.
This show gets old extremely fast and it's far from funny. It also goes on for way too long. More than 20 seconds.
I've got eyes in the back of my head too, you know.
Irony. Also, Spike really is pissed over an owl.
He's just wonderful.
He's just wonderful.
Jealousy.
Such a star. I just had to make this little bow for you.
Again, something about this bow is off.
Twilight and Aloysius know that I'm still number 1.
Twilight somehow doesn't hear the end of Spike's rant. Many things need to be said here. 1. What makes you think there'll be a quill in Sugar Cube Corner, of all places? 2. Okay, that was generally an okay joke. 3. Why would Twilight, of all ponies, just leave a sandwich laying around on her table? Knowing how neat she is, she would know how bad of an idea that is. It'll get moldy soon. 4. Why would a quill be in a sandwich? What kind of pony would put a quill there?
That's just great. Perfect. Sweet.
Spike essentially got eaten here because of his own motive, mainly thinking that Aloysius would replace him, even though Twilight made it very clear that she wouldn't do so. But the biggest problem here was Spike's inability to listen. If he had just listened to Twilight and stopped, he wouldn't have had to practically burn himself out, just for a quill that Aloysius got before him. God, this part makes me so aggravated. But don't worry, to me, the episode gets worse. But for now, 15 cents.
Well, that's fine, because I can just stay up all night and finish.
Irony Sin Part 2.
You set me up. Well, two can play that game.
Spike, you good, fam? Wait, no, don't answer that, actually. I already know the answer. What in the ever-loving frick do you mean Owlush set you up? Might I add that the fact that you were the one who sneezed in the book, you were the one who decided it was a good idea to lie about it to Twilight, and yet it's the Owl's fault? And you expect Twilight to fall for the BS you do later? No. I'm sorry, but this is where the episode drops quality immensely. As soon as Spike met Owlush is when the episode got way worse. Forgive me, but I need to give this what I think it deserves.
Not who, two! Ugh.
This joke is not funny. So basically, this next part of the episode is Spike setting Owlush up in the most unbelievable setup ever. It's painful. This part is so bad that I don't even want to point out the sin in this part, so I'll just explain it. Spike takes Opal's toy, takes it to the library, messes it up, throws the stuffing on the ground, then covers it in ketchup for whatever reason. Also, where did that fridge come from? Anyways, he then takes the pillow, then throws the feathers everywhere, only for the relatively funny scene to happen where Spike bumps into Twilight. It's not entirely funny, but it could have a chuckle out of me. Anyways, there's a few major problems here that would immediately stop Spike's plan. First, when Twilight comes through the door, Owlush is with her. If Spike's plan is to make it look like Owlush made the mess, then wouldn't you have to see if Owlush is even in the house to begin with? Yes, you would. So Spike should have immediately seen if Owlush was in the house. Then when he noticed that they weren't there, he shouldn't have done anything because he would have instantly got caught. And don't come at me like, but Owlush was in the house last time he checked. While that is true, Twilight left the house, and Owlush has the pedestal that they sit on. It was literally right over here if I'm not mistaken. So he should have seen that Owlush was not on this pedestal, and been like, oh, they probably left to go somewhere, or something along those lines. Which again, means that Spike shouldn't have done anything, because again, he would have instantly got caught. Oh my god, this part is just so dumb. I know I gave it part 45 seconds before, but I must do it again. It hurts because the episode gets worse past this point.
Must have been Aloysius! Since owls eat, mice.
Spike as a character drastically got worse at this point. One, dude, Owlush has been with Twilight the entire time you're making this mess. It's painfully obvious that you're the one who made this mess. You aren't fooling any pony. 2, does it really look like Owlush would do something like this? I'll answer that. No. 3, he tries to back up this claim with the fact that owls eat mice. That is not a real mouse. 4, also, he knows Owlush is an owl, so it's either he doesn't know the sound that an owl makes, or he purposely pretended not to know just to get some stupid who jokes for the audience to laugh. Now, this might have actually worked, as the intended audience for the show is 4 to 12. The younger people may have found this funny, but, however, for me, it is painfully unfunny. And it's even worse because this joke is repeated the whole episode.
What a terrible, terrible bird! He must be punished! Right?
Okay, so first off, this acting is terrible. No pony would fall for this. Second off, Spike is entirely neglecting the fact that Owlush was firstly not in the house, and secondly, would not do this. Ever.
Spike, I don't know what upsets me more. That you deliberately tried to set up Aloysius, or that you actually thought this pathetic attempt would work.
Oh my god. It's a miracle. Tyra's smart than I'm kidding. There's no way she would ever fall for this, smart character or not. But I will acknowledge the fact that she deliberately said that Spike's attempt to set up Owlush was pathetic. Good job.
You've let your jealousy get the best of you, Spike. I am truly disappointed.
Again, good job, Twi. However, Twi's wording and Spike's misinterpretation started by far the worst scene in this episode. Oh lord.
She doesn't love me anymore. Twilight hates me.
There is absolutely no doubt this is the worst part of the episode by far. So, gonna go on a really long rant, so, yeah, turn your volume down. If you feel like it. Anyways. What? You mean to tell me that Spike thinks Twilight hates his guts, practically because of an owl stealing his position as #1 assistant, and he runs away because of that? No, this is stupid. For starters, this is providing a horrible lesson to the kids. The only thing I'm getting from this part is if somebody, quote unquote, does not love you anymore, then run with him home. They will not care. And like, no. Children at the ages that they most likely are when they watch the show are very impressionable, and will likely do things they see on TV. This scene likely proving my point. And yes, I realize I'm probably acting like those 50-year-old kids that are seen at your local supermarkets. And I'm sorry if I'm giving off those vibes, but this is generally how I felt while watching the episode, and how I feel now. Also, aside from the fact that the plot completely flips and gets way worse, there's a few logical issues. Literally, right as Spike says,
Could it get any worse?
lightning flashes, then a few seconds later, it immediately starts raining. And he's back to the plot. The plot is horrible here. Spike thinks Twilight does not love him anymore, so he runs away. However, Spike's thinking is very flawed. Twilight did say something along the lines of,
This is not the Spike I know and love.
but that does not mean she doesn't love Spike at all. She was simply mad at something Spike did and comparing it to his older actions. However, Twilight's actions are justified. It makes sense that she got mad at Spike. He literally made a mess on the floor and tried to blame it on Owlicious, in which I literally cannot stress this enough. Owlicious was with Twilight the whole time and Spike saw them with Twilight. I'm literally done with this scene. I'm sorry, but it is so bad and horribly drags on this episode. But then again, the episode was ruined as soon as Spike met Owlicious because from then, the rest of the episode was Spike being a god-awful character and a jealous prick. I'm officially done. I have to give this episode the most sins I can offer. Now that we're done with that, in the future be down 3 bottles of water after that.
If this is what running away is all about, I never want to go home!
Okay, I know I just finished a super long rant about this part. But are you serious? This is a horrible mindset. Running away doesn't instantly get better because you find things you like. Honestly, there are a million new things I could say about this scene, but I'm tired of talking about it. Alex Machina, again. Also, how did they know Spike was here? Same with Twilight. But then again, Alex just probably led her here. But that just brings me back to my last question.
Am I glad to see you?
And now he's back to thinking Twilight likes him, and you know what? I'm done. We're moving on. Extra sin that I forgot to include into the script part 2, but at least some of Twilight's tales should have been burnt from that, because that fire spread a long way.
Spike, we were so worried about you. I was so worried about you. Why did you run away?
I thought you didn't need me anymore. And that you didn't love me anymore.
I really want to say something about this, but I'm trying to not go on a long rant like that again.
Owls are nocturnal, so I asked Aloysius to help.
Wait, if owls are nocturnal, then how was Owlicious awake during the day?
I'm sorry, Twilight. I never should have been so jealous.
And I'm sorry too, Spike. I should have been more sensitive.
Okay, 1, why are you apologizing, Twilight? You were not the one wrong. Spike was. You literally have no reason to be apologizing. And 2, what will being more sensitive even do?
I know now that you weren't out to take my job.
No.
How did you guys know where I was?
My exact question.
It was your ketchup-covered feet. Aloysius discovered your footprints, and we followed them all the way to the cave.
Also, no, this reason is by far the most BS I've heard in a long while. The trail isn't even visible when he's walking through the forest. We can literally see both of his feet here, and there's no ketchup. This ending literally just tops off as to how bad this episode is.
I promise that I, Spike, will...
How does he fall asleep as he's writing?
Who? Spike. You know... Oh.
This is a god-awful ending. Twilight literally falls for the same joke we've been watching all episode. Also, she wouldn't be falling for this. In conclusion, is this the worst MLB episode? No, far from it. But it would be very low down the list of episodes I've seen. If anything, Power Ponies would be number 1 worst so far. It was so bad I had to skip it because I didn't want to watch it. It was that cringe. Anyways, back to this episode. The beginning was horrible. The part where we meet the owl is by far the best part in the episode, besides the candle. But everything else was terrible. This episode has a horrible lesson, horrible plot, just almost everything was bad. The scene with the owl was the only redeeming quality. Owlicious in general was the best part of this episode, obviously excluding the jokes with them. Seriously, who jokes are not funny? I mean, maybe they can be funny the first time around, but repeated for a whole 22-minute episode. Spike was at by far his worst so far from what I've seen. And Troy was fine. Until the ending where she unreasonably apologized for her actions, despite them being justified. This was just a bad episode of little redeeming qualities. Also, Owlicious is either non-binary or agender, and you are not telling me otherwise.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear you.
That is why you are my #1 assistant.
Missed that. Someone borrowed it. Besides, you don't need that book. You can already name all the planets and stars because you're super smart and astronomically awesome. Come on. I said come on. Stop it. Twilight, your turn.
And now the punch has been spiked.
One. Who? I'm Spike. Who are you? What are you? Who? I thought your name was Aloysius. Who? Okay, who? Aloysius, whatever. I'm Spike, okay? Look, all you need to know is that I'm #1 and you're #2. Got it? Who? That bird is after my job. He wants to be #1. Well, I'll prove to Twilight that I deserve to be #1. Not freaking feathers over there. I won't let him have my job. It's the last thing I do.
He's just wonderful.
He's just wonderful. He is quite the charmer. Better step it up and make sure that Twilight and Aloysius know that I'm still #1.
Spike, wait! Wait!
Finish up the rest of my chores. Or did Aloysius already do them? You set me up. Well, 2 can play that game. Not who? 2! No! Spike, you know, sister #1. I'm Spike. Who? I thought your name was Aloysius.